from world-renowned artist with multiple of his pieces famous for being presented in the Louvre, Dingity Dingus presents Just Daisy. And you know, this guy's got a lot of fans from a lot of different stripes. Art is often considered a highbrow medium these days where you gotta go and get like some libtard education in order to understand what's happening in it, but not here, man. Some people can see the beauty in what art can be. Here we have Zack Scott with a blue checkmark on Twitter, a guy who had the checkmark when it actually meant something, swoops in with praise of their own. I loved the original, but she wasn't an elephant. So I commissioned the same artist to turn her into an elephant. Hey again, fellas, and welcome back to With a Y. Today I want to tell you about someone who you may recognize. There's this guy out there, Zack Scott, and if you grew up on YouTube at any time in like the last decade and a half, I'm sure you already recognize this game to some capacity. In some regards, this guy is just undeniably the GOAT. He has probably done Let's Plays of games your parents couldn't afford to buy you or just refused to as a kid, and you lived vicariously through him to get your fix. He's been doing this seminal work alongside guys like the Rad Brad for years at this point. Like, this guy was doing a playthrough of Fortnite when it was still a single-player game and part of the zombie apocalypse trend in the mid-2010s. How many of y'all knew that Fortnite had a single-player mode? Fortnite Save the World used to be a paid-for product. So you're probably wondering what he's done to warrant discussion in a channel like this, because you know what we do on this channel. We're not here to look at the overarching career of this guy and all of the accolades and gigantic community he's built up over the year. We're here to talk about something saucy. Recently, and I'm talking like within the last week, this guy has gotten his own Know Your Meme entry updated about 20 hours ago by Zach. Yeah, alright, bud, just change the K in your name to an H. Nobody will notice. Definitely different people. Even if these guys were in the same room, like talking to me at the same time, I would not be convinced they were different folk. The thing you need to know about the Zack Scott Elephant Daisy art commissions is that they are a part of a wider agenda. Despite how recent this blurb of words and attention being brought to this trend is, the art I was showing you at the beginning of the video is actually from all the way back in October 2023. It feels like a lot of what we cover here is people having like their flash in the pan moment, and then we go into their history and find out it goes way farther back than we ever conceived. The recent update was that Zack Scott began posting new Elephant Daisy commissions in April 2025. Now, on its face, the reason that you would think people find this whole thing weird is like bro is publicly commissioning people to turn their own artwork of Daisy into an elephant. Like, bro is into some freaky shit, man. He did that first one completely unprompted, spent his own good money on that shit. But that spectacle really does lose its novelty with the benefit of time. And as this guy posts more and more of the same exact type of image, we're not talking about him making characters into other animals that he may or may not be attracted to. We're not even generally talking about him commissioning art of elephants. It's consistent with this dude. It's only when he sees art of Daisy that he commissions art to have Daisy turned into an elephant. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this is a fetish thing at all. Even if it was, I really wouldn't care that much. It would just be a fun oddity about an otherwise famous guy. This whole thing started when the Super Mario Wonder reveal trailer came and Daisy had an elephant power-up. It was relevant to something that fans were seeing in an actively coming out Mario game. Coming out because they're gay, by the way. I don't know if this was the exact trigger, but this was as far back as I saw this going to show that this dude has a bit of a track record of being avant-garde with the pieces he commissions. You can't win on Twitter. If you tinker with AI for fun, people are outraged. If you commission real artists to create masterpieces like these, people are outraged. Okay, you know what? Let's judge these for ourselves. Elephant Daisy, based, just normal game fan art. It's literally canon. Him with two bad bitches that look like they're from Splatoon, which is incredibly based. I don't play Splatoon, I'm just saying that. More Splatoon-related stuff, except this one's involving Skibbity Toilet with clear fart lines. And in the same way that one of Zack's squid women is like stereotypical zombie blue, they decided they wanted the zombie from Plants vs. Zombie to be crawling out of the toilet. And from what I can tell, almost all of these were commissioned in different art styles, so this guy is supporting a lot of people's creative passions and careers. I'm gonna say this right now, Zach, I don't think you should be touching that AI stuff. When you have the taste and instinct to be making stuff like this on a whim, this is the ethical choice to make, my friend. And I'm happy to see you're making it. And it was actually this AI angle that kind of had this whole thing take on a life of its own. He said this on my 25th birthday, by the way, but in the days following, this guy was talking about pretty normal shit. Should I do a Plants vs. Zombies Smash or Pass, reacting to like new Nintendo stuff at the Switch 2 Direct, and in what I can only assume was meant as a one-time revival of a bit because we got a new Daisy outfit reveal. Is there an Elephant Daisy version of this? We gotta scroll past some stuff about tariffs and inflation and people being priced out of the market and never being able to own a home with today's economy. And then on April 5th, I think this guy realized that without knowing it, he had laid down the foundations for everything he wants in life. Because he already got memed to shit for spending money to get Elephant Daisy art, activities more befitting of a Verbalace protege. When he asks for it again, there are people who already know to expect it from him, and so they have that shit on deck. From Ishigami Clam, is there an Elephant Daisy version of this? There is now. This is great, the guy says. The way he says, this is great in the tweet just reminds me of the yeahs from Miiverse, and just the way people were posting that shit in the replies on Twitter when likes got privated. And honestly, this guy could have probably rested on his laurels with this whole thing, because he was getting multiple iterations of the prompt he had given. Like, here's another Daisy elephant in the replies, people going, I know what you are, Bowser showing that he loves fat bitches, and people are just actively giving him pats on the back for his interest in these things. Never change, Zack, never change. Which, in large part, funny, is why I respect the fact that he didn't take that easy way out. Like, if you scroll up, here's more fan art of Elephant Daisy in a different art style. It's a fun compare and contrast of how different artists interpret the same prompt, but this dude just isn't satisfied with the crusade stopping there. He is willing to put his money where his mouth is. And I love that he just doesn't change a single damn thing about how he did it. Here's another Daisy drawing, very cool, captioned again. I loved the original, but she wasn't an elephant, so I commissioned the same artist to turn her into an elephant. 51,000 likes, man. You love to see that traditional art can still win in the modern internet. It feels like people making authentic creative output, whether it's good or bad, are just in a race to the bottom against like these AIs that can objectively outproduce any of us and will only get better down the line. It shows that the human touch is not something that can ever be wholly replaced by pure efficiency. The fact he commissions the same artist that he is wanting to get an edit of every time is really commendable as well. It's like, I was inspired by the art you created, and I want you to be able to share in the bounty of that inspiration. What do I want for the commission? Could you draw your Daisy art, but she's an elephant instead? Here's another one of the new Daisy design where she's just popping ass on a jet ski, man. Once again, Zack swoops in to commission the same artist to create a rendition that's more to his liking, and it's nice to see people starting to recognize exactly the power of what he's doing, the symbology behind it. So I commissioned the same artist. Yeah, okay, Superman. Why don't you go back to saving kittens from trees and other really positive deeds? He basically has been doing this trend at least once a day for the last week or so. Art is skilled labor. None of what you're seeing here is something that could have been done in like a split second. The reason I think there was a delay between his original comment on Daisy not being an elephant and just the flurry of commissions he made of the subject is because he was spending the days ahead of it just stockpiling commissions, either getting them in motion or making sure he had them ready to go so there'd be no hiccups in the assembly line. Like, this is a project with a budget, one I can't really see him profiting from considering he's only really posting this to Twitter. Not only did he post this Daisy elephant art, but he also posted on the same day different Daisy elephant art he commissioned, but he had even more going on in it, with like the cow that can apparently ride a moped now, using a plunger as a steering wheel that is coming out of Skibbity Mario's head. Nintendo will probably never do this crossover idea, so I commissioned this amazing art to make my dream come true. This guy uses infinitely more punctuation than Philo and Predator ever has, but I can't help but read these tweets in the same tone as, this is what you would look like if you were black or Chinese. And it is just funny to me how many numbers these were racking up over and over again. Like, it felt like it was just scaling higher and higher. The first in the new crop of Elephant Daisy commissions from Zack got like 50k likes on its own. The next one got 100k, then 60, Skibbity Mario got 30, and then the next few posts were back to the hundreds. Now, like any plan, it did not survive first contact with the enemy being scheduling. Me when I find an amazing Daisy artist, and their commissions are closed! Dude has so successfully associated himself with this concept and being into it that he didn't even need to commission a piece to get another 100k likes. He just needed to be sad about not being able to. A man with true love of the game. And yes, the Dumbo crying gif is a thematically good choice. I give him credit on that front. And I think I cracked the code on why these are resonating with such a wide crowd of people. Not only do some people see Elephant Daisy with objectively big tits, ass, and thighs and go like, shit man, I get it. People who have more conventional tastes are coming from these original Daisy posts, especially when she had like a swimsuit outfit revealed. Random Riot over here was just doing some market strategizing. She was already hot in a way most people could agree on, so what if she was an elephant instead? Pretty funny. Now, Zack is not one to rest on his laurels or completely neglect other topics that he was going on pretty passionately about. He manages to tie this whole thing into the pretty outrageous pricing Nintendo has around Switch 2 games and the product itself. Nintendo has insisted that Mario Kart World world justifies its shock $80 price tag. Doug Bowser, the CEO of Nintendo of America, came out and said some stuff to try and clarify the pricing. He had some comments that scarily remind me of how Sony was talking about the PS3 price like 20 years ago. We recognize some people may not be able to afford the Switch 2 because they're broke. That's why we want them to keep being able to buy the Switch. But he made a comment to the effect that variable pricing is going to be applied to Switch 2 games, and it's going to like be based on the amount of content and how big as games they are. Like apparently Mario Kart World is just that stuff that it justifies its $80 price tag. And you know, some people were asking how the hell do you even do a season pass with this? And maybe it's like that. It's content complete at the very start of the game. But Zack Scott has a different bargain that he wants. For $80, this better be one of the items in the game. It sounds like a threat. If you feel like a little uneasy, that correct. This would be the power-up that makes you turn into an elephant. And then after that, it was back to business as usual. This motherfucker has not used a different caption for any of these posts since he started posting them. We saw one of Daisy with Mario, but like her and Luigi are the ones who are actually romantically involved, so it's nice to see one with him. Many over here made their own Daisy artwork, which of course Zack Scott got his grubby hands on and commissioned them to make an elephant version of. What I find really novel though is that Luigi's excitement at seeing Daisy just did not change between her normal form and seeing her as an elephant. A lovesick dog who would do anything for his queen. This continues throughout April the 8th, April the 9th, and as I am recording this video, April the 10th. Not buying these Dino Blade says, showing all the games that I'm probably going to buy on my Switch 2 with my big rich person money. And this is the least shitpost feeling one of these that Zack Scott has commissioned. Like, the way that Daisy is drawn here fits really well in the art style that was in the original work, and it looks like she could just straight up be a new character in the Donkey Kong game. He was churning out like 3 to 4 of these a day max, which is still a fucking lot, and I can't imagine how many thousands of dollars he's put into this project and how many thousands more he will. But by the time I'm recording this video, April 10th, right now there has been an average post made every 2 hours. This dude might have had this whole idea inked out well before he made that tweet on March 30th with the volume of work he is just putting out. Like 21 hours ago, 20 hours ago, 17 hours ago, 3 hours ago, another one he didn't commission because it's just getting made. Daisy is not only an elephant, she's also Samus Aran, I guess. This has gone through so many iterations, man, and I haven't eaten breakfast yet. The most recent one he posted wasn't even an hour old when I pressed the record button on Audacity. Morally speaking, people have found this pretty compelling. Some people think this guy is going insane, but looking at how he posts and talks about this whole thing piece by piece, he is having a ball right now. He is laughing his ass off. I sincerely doubt he gets any, like, sexual pleasure from this, and if he does, more power to him. But I think Zack is very in character at this moment. Anybody concerned for his well-being should actually be very happy for how happy he seems. And this becoming a kind of soft anti-AI art crusade is very compelling, because Zack is actively hiring artists to make this instead of just like aping their shit and running it through like fucking Midjourney, some other bullshit used to generate AI porn, and instead commissioning artists to make his vision a reality in what is, of course, a more compelling way. I can't find the quote tweet of it, but there was an artist who got commissioned by Zack who said that this tweet was basically how it felt to get this commission. Hello, artist. I'm Zack Scott. See, I just saw your Daisy art and I was just wondering. For reference, the original video this is from is Joker calls a fat fetish artist and asks them to make normal art. Zack is someone asking people to turn their normal art into, elephant Daisy art. In general, it's a funny little side quest I expect to continue for at least the next few days. It'll probably have its revivals as new Mario announcements get made and also as the games actually get released and he just gets more elephant Daisy content. All things considered, Godspeed to you, Zack Scott. You are doing the Lord's work out here as you always have been. God forbid a white boy catch a vibe. I'm gonna wrap this one up here. That kwytebox email is in the description if you want to send me any video topics. Anyways, piss on.